Ready? All right. Good evening, everybody. I'll call the West Valley School District Board of Directors regular school board meeting to order. It is Monday. I'm out of sequence tonight. Monday, it's because it's Monday. Monday, November 25th, 2024, 7 p.m. I'll call the meeting to order with the Pledge of Allegiance. Ready? Begin.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Dr. Finch just informed me that there are no changes to the agenda this evening. The travel request that got added late is in the agenda now. Item 5, communications.
All right, so we have responsive public comment as a placeholder. And so letter B is our high school ASB report, and that'll be Ava Ferguson here as our student representative. So Ava, take it away.
Perfect. Okay, this month we had our annual Veterans Day Assembly. This is put on every year by our ROTC program at the high school. They hosted a breakfast with coffee and donuts for the veterans that we had come into the school. And then after the assembly, there was a period of time where they led veterans around to different classrooms so kids could talk to them and just learn about kind of how that's like. So that went really well. Our winter sports season began on Monday, the 18th. And we had our tapping ceremony for National Honor Society, where we inducted a lot of new members, which is really good. And then, oh yeah, so we have a couple students who have gone down to the Sun Dome where state volleyball is being held. And they've been given the opportunity to learn about broadcasting and record some of the games that have been happening down there. So that's been really interesting and cool to see how they can maybe apply that later in life if that's something that they want to go into. After Thanksgiving break, our boys and girls basketball teams will get started. They have their first game on Tuesday, December 3rd. And then Parsons will be up at the high school on December 4th to take photos of all of our clubs and activities for the yearbook. And on tomorrow, our ASB class does a lock-in where we are going to basically be at the school from 6 to midnight. And we decorate the entire school for Christmas and just get everything ready so that when the kids come back after Thanksgiving break, they have, I don't know, something fun to look at, keep them motivated till the end of winter break. And that's it. Thank you.
That's cool. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Evan.
Item C, staff retirement recognition.
Well, we always like to recognize our staff. I don't see Tammy here this evening, but Tammy Lawson just recently retired. She finished as secretary at White Hollow, and appreciate her service throughout the years for West Valley. So appreciate Tammy Lawson and wish her the best in her retirement.
Thank you. Item 5D, this is the selection of Instructional Materials Committee members.
All right, so we put the word out that we had some openings on the Instructional Materials Committee. We had 30 to 40 people contact us and let us know they were interested. So we have some are replacement for the terms, and then others are additions because we made the adjustment to our procedures that we would add more members to the committee and have alternate members and draw the members when they come to the meeting so that everyone's prepared to give their input on the instructional materials. So we have 7 that we're going to need to draw tonight, and we have names in this container here. And so we're going to go ahead and start the draw here. All right, so the first person is a person whose term will end June 30th of 2025.
Okay. Kaylee or Callie Fouché, Foushay. Kaley Foushay.
All right, very good. Next person, their term will end June 30th of 2026.
Michael Trujillo, Trujillo. Michael's the Michal.
Very good. Next person, their term will also end June 30th of 2026.
Carol Blevins, KarylBlevins.
And Carol is here this evening. Congratulations, Carol. Next person, their term will end June 30 of 2027.
Lorraine, I think it's Shizad or Shizard, LORRAINESHIZARD.
All right. Next person, their term will end June 30 of 2028.
Amy Peterson, AMYPETERSON.
Okay. And the next person, their term will end June 30 of 2028.
David Tibet Egger, DAVID TIBBETT hyphen EGGER. ER.
Thank you. And the final person, their term will end June 30 of 2028.
Josh McKimmy, JOSH MCKIMMY.
All right, very good. That concludes the selection of instructional materials committee members, the 7 parent community members. Again, that's Kaylee Fouché, Michael Trujillo, Carol Blevins, Lorraine Chazard, Amy Peterson, David Tibet Egger, and Josh McKimmy.
All right.
Thank you. Peter, I have a quick question.
Sure.
Maybe I've lost track of some of this. I thought the terms were, they're 4 years?
Right, so some of these terms were a replacement for a person who declined to continue on the committee, and some of the terms were the additional members that we've added so that we'll have alternates in case someone is not able to attend on the day of the meeting.
Okay, so the reason I asked that is some of them in like June 30th, 2028. That's like 3.5 years. No, I've got that wrong. Sorry, I'm thinking, never mind.
Yep, so that's the
It's
people
4.5 years.
Yeah,
right?
so there were 2 people whose term expired, and those would need to be replaced for the 2028. And then we added a third person for each term of office so that there's alternates available, and they're on a rotating schedule as well.
Okay, so those, they just absorb the other half or whatever that person retired plus the additional 4 years. Is that what it is?
No.
So the 2025, there was a person whose term was set to, let's see, 2025 would have been the addition that we did for the, we added, for each term, we added an alternate. And then in 2026, we needed someone to replace someone who had declined to continue. And then we also needed the alternate. 2027 was the alternate. And then 2028 were the 2 people whose terms of office had expired. And then the third person who would be the alternate. So we have a total of 7 new members for the committee.
Okay, so it is the remaining of the other term plus the 4 years. That's what I was
Exactly.
getting at.
Yep.
Okay, that
Yep.
makes sense now. Thank you.
All right, and then item E was this communication to the board regarding a clean building audit. There was no action needed, but I want to make sure we made that part of the public record. So that's the ASHRAE Clean Building Audit. If there's any questions about that, we do have Joe Conley here this evening, our Assistant Superintendent for Business and Operations.
All right. Does anybody have any questions on that informational memo that was received?
I don't.
Okay. Item 6 is the program presentation strategic plan. Dr. Finch, would you like to introduce the program this evening?
So last month we had an update on the parts of the strategic plan, which were the goals. That's found on page 5 of the document. We have those available for the audience and also for the board. So page 5 are the goals for the strategic plan, which is a culture of safety and belonging for all of our schools, strong foundations at the elementary schools, mastery standards at the mid-level, and career pathways at our secondary schools. This evening, we're going to talk about the district foundations. That's found on page 6. So district foundations are systems to ensure high-quality student learning. We'll have Geraldine Ashbaugh talk specifically about our instructional coaching model. That's job-embedded professional development to ensure high-quality student learning. Next, we'll have authentic engagement and partnerships with students, families, and community. Minerva Pardo, our Director of Family and Community Engagement, will speak to that part of the district foundations. Next is facilities and operations to support an outstanding student experience. We'll have Joe Conley, our Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations, speak to that part of the district foundations. And then finally, the culture of excellence, accountability, and continuous improvement. And myself, Superintendent, will speak on that part of the district foundations. So we'll go ahead and ask the board to join the audience so you can see the presentation. And we'll start with Geraldine.
All right, thank you for having me tonight. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay on the microphone here. Is that okay? Okay. All right, I'm going to be talking about systems to ensure high quality student learning. And we're going to start with student-centered job-embedded instructional coaching. So that will be my focus for my presentation. Student-centered job-embedded instructional coaching is exactly what it sounds like. Instructional coaches work with teachers in the district during the day through either one-on-one instructional support for the teacher and the student learning, and or small groups in their professional learning communities and through professional development. Coaching is really important to the work that we're doing in the district, and it's a through line for the school improvement plans at the building level and our district in a strategic plan. So I'm going to start with some of the areas of focus that we have in the district. Don't feel like this is working. The first one is teacher clarity and standards alignment. That is the focus specifically at our high school, although you will see that happening at all of our levels. Teacher clarity and standards alignment is what we're really looking at in the strategic plan. You'll notice on page 5 of your strategic plan, you'll see career pathways. And specifically, the outcomes that we're looking for there is the increase of the number of students meeting learning standards and earning credit in every class. And then also increasing the percent of students who are our 4-year graduation rate. So really focusing hard on that teacher clarity and standards alignment at the high school. And we're doing that, our instructional coaches, we have 2 of them at the high school. They're part-time instructional coaches. We'd love to see that capacity increase at the high school, but right now we have 2. And it's really through peer observation and ongoing instructional coaching that work is happening at the high school level. The next one is targeted instruction, is a focus at the Innovation Center and at the middle level campus. And so that lives in mastery of standards. You can see that. That's number 3 on page 5. I don't have my glasses on, but I need to put them on here. And there we're really looking at increasing the number of students meeting grade level standards in all classes, as well as in our ELA and math. That's kind of all encompassing there. So targeted instruction, our focus is targeted instruction using data and a focus on alignment to standards with students having multiple opportunities to show what they know. The last one is a focus on strategies. You'll see that is the emphasis at our elementary schools. Focus on strategies and best practices. That lives in goal number 2, strong foundations in the early years. There we're really looking, and it looks like I may have not put the ones that are on the strategic plan, but I think it's a more detailed strategic plan that I had in front of me when I was looking at this. The focus at the elementary level is really on strategies, instructional strategies, student talk, and language acquisition, as really helping support our teachers use a guaranteed viable curriculum with tiered supports to meet the needs of all of our learners. The high yield strategies, we're looking for those strategies that really show evidence, that are evidence-based, that really show results. We're doing that through observation in classrooms and through ongoing instructional coaching as well. At the high school, like I said, we have the 2 part-time instructional coaches. At the Innovation Center this year, we have 1 instructional coach working with all the designers there. middle level campus, we have 2 full-time instructional coaches and a multilingual instructional coach to support our English language learners. And at the elementaries, you'll see 1 instructional coach in each building, as well as a district level multilingual instructional coach who supports the elementary buildings and the other buildings as well. Our plan for continuous improvement, this is where I get to really support our instructional coaches. I think it was about 3 years ago, we had a very extensive K-12 instructional coach training with Diane Sweeney out of Colorado. And we really worked on what's it mean to be student-centered. So instead of just a relationship-driven instructional coaching where we're gathering resources for our teachers and we're just seen as a resource, we're actually digging in with the teachers in a co-plan, co-teach kind of model. We're looking at what are the standards that students need to learn and what are the best practices and strategies in order to help teachers get them there. And so we're really focusing on student achievement and improving outcomes for our students. In order to continue to grow, we've started looking at other coaching models as well to kind of refine our practice. So last year, we just kind of started digging into gym night at the elementary level, although our secondary coaches had been already working on the gym night model. And we really adopted his idea of a coaching cycle. Coaching cycle is where an instructional coach works with the teacher to identify a focus. Sometimes narrowing that focus can be a challenge, so really helping them narrow their focus, learning together, whether that's through whisper coaching or co-teaching or just co-planning, and then reviewing it and looking at how can we improve, what was the data from that coaching cycle, how did our students do, and do we need to continue this cycle? So it's ongoing and continuous. One thing that I've asked our instructional coaches to do this year is to maintain a coaching log where they are keeping track of the work that they're doing with their teachers. They're keeping track of the number of full cycles they're completing. So again, the identify, learn, improve, and then really looking at what's the evidence of impact. How do I know that the work that I did with the teacher made a difference for students? And so it can be anecdotal, it can be data, but it's really for them to say, yes, this is making a difference, or I need to continue to refine my practice. And then also just targeted professional development. We'll continue to improve the coaching process and the practice through not just providing targeted professional development to our buildings, but also as an instructional coach team, really focusing on what do we need in order to improve our practice along the way.
Hi, so for authentic engagement and partnerships with students, families, and communities, we can see an improvement on all the different community engagement activities, such as the Welcome Back to School. We had a larger number of partners joining our event. We are having successful nights such as the Native American community engagement, which we call Rock Your Mocks, and with the Hispanic Heritage Celebration as well. We're having mental health sessions, and those are also really successful. We are now moving into a hybrid mode. So we have the option, some people join on Zoom and some we have in person. We just had a really great presenter talking about eating disorders last week, and that was also really well attended. So as for the district communication, we continue sending skyward messages and printed messages as well as digital, and we are using Remind. I want to talk a little bit about our community cafes, and we had. It's always a pleasure to listen to parents talking about how much they respect and appreciate our teachers. The communication they have with them, that was also something that was highlighted during these conversations. And the one thing that was a common thing among all the cafes that we held was the Family Engagement Week, at which they celebrated, and they said it was an amazing way to start the school year. So that's we can see families always saying that building trusting relationships, it's essential, which is also part of our strategic plan, and having good communication between teachers and families. There's that line at the bottom that I really enjoy coming from one of the parents. And the parent said, students do not learn only to take a test, they learn to be able to apply their knowledge. And I really love hearing or listening to a parent saying something like that. So those are our strengths and the plans for continuous improvement. We continue with our community engagement events. It's very important that we keep our ears really open and ready for listening. And so we will continue with that. Having more inclusion of cultural practices and continue the community collaboration, such as the mental health workshops or the Neurospicy parent group that we're having. We will also continue with our resource fair, one of them being the migrant and bilingual parents resource fair. Communication, I can't wait for these to happen. We are going to, before that, well, we're going to strengthen our practices for families that speak other language, not just English and Spanish, but be mindful of all the other languages that we have in the district. And so I was saying that I'm really looking forward to moving into to transition into Parent Square. Is going to give communication between schools, teachers, and families and students. Everybody, it's going to be more engaged and understanding more what is happening. There less confusion. I can't wait to see that. And another thing that I want to continue seeing and growing is the adult literacy education that we are offering. So right now, the program is mainly for Spanish speakers, but I am having 2 new resources that might work for English speaking adults that need to receive the education as well. So we're looking for more inclusionary practices as well to support the adults. And I always say that when we have a strong parent, that parent is going to be a strong support for that student. So that's why supporting these parents really matters. Okay, and that's all I have.
This list is going to surprise you guys, right? Facilities and operations to support an outstanding student experience. One of the goals that was in this foundation was to complete the board-approved capital projects on time and within budget. And some of our strengths, obviously, we had a really busy summer and a fall. We had the track and field upgrade. We had the ADA grandstands upgrade. Hopefully, you guys have been able to sit in those. They're very nice. There's actually some rails to hold on to. Roof upgrades. We had a roof upgrade at Mountain View, Cottonwood, and White Hollow. Mountain View well upgrade as well. So that was pretty exciting. We actually just got that hooked up, and so that's working really well, and we're excited about that. Chillers and boiler upgrades, White Hollow and Cottonwood. Both the chillers and boilers have been ordered. I know that there was a question at the last board meeting. I wasn't here, but the boilers are about 9 weeks out. So hopefully that once those arrive, we'll get an ETA on install and everything else from there. Bleacher seat replacement at the IC. Nobody likes to sit on uncomfortable seats, so it's always good to have that replaced. And then our parking lot expansion over at Mountain View. If you guys have not been out there, it is pretty awesome as far as how many cars can now be pulled off that center area, moved over for staff parking, and allow for more cars to be pulled off Stone Road, which is a big plus in that area. So that's a great thing. Deferred maintenance has always been a discussion point. We have continued to look at ADA reviews and upgrades throughout the district. We just made a few upgrades at our Mountain View our Tandem location. District sidewalks, asphalt reviews and repairs. We continuously look at those to ensure that there's no tripping hazards. Playground equipment repairs, that's an ongoing thing as we have some aging equipment. So we're always looking to make that better for students from a safety standpoint. And then lighting upgrades and repairs. I know that Jack's talked about that at one of his presentations, and it's something that we've been doing district-wide. Return on investment is probably about 4 or 5 years out, so we'll actually get some data when that happens, but it's still a great thing, especially with the power increases and everything else that we're seeing. So And then continuous improvement, which I know that some of you guys are serving on this, but we reconvened the Long Range Facility Committee, which we had our first meeting on November 19th. It went really well. It's more of a data dump that first meeting. So you learn about enrollment, you learn about some of the building makeups and things like that. So hopefully we'll start to get that going. And I think our next meeting is January 7th. I think that's what it is. Okay. And then architectural design, we're still going to continue to work on the outstanding capital projects. And we're working on RFQs for those outstanding capital projects. Most of the architectural design work has been completed. So now we're just trying to get numbers together to make sure that's within budget, which is one of the goals on this district foundation. And then lastly, IT, cyber security is also on here. Lead continuous upgrade of cybersecurity and filtering system to ensure district information. IT is rolling out a program called CyberNut, which helps raise awareness and provide some training modules for staff so they're more aware of phishing emails and scams and things like that, so they don't give out information that is privy. So, and that is what I have, guys.
All right, and the final area is the culture of excellence, accountability, and continuous improvement. So I think our district has a lot of strengths in this area already. For many years, we've had data summits at our school board study sessions 3 times a year. And the data that we provide for the school board and for the public, of course, is that it's more than just the student achievement data. We disaggregate the data, and then we also have the survey data that we collect. We're doing the surveys actually open right now for our student, staff, and our families. And we also report data from the ERDC, the Educational Research and Data Center of Washington State. So this was an effort to make sure that the data silos that are collected by the state, that they can actually communicate across the various agencies. And so the Educational Research and Data Center has K-12 data moving into higher ed data. And our school board and, of course, then the community has seen that data for many years. When I was sharing at the regional superintendent's meeting about our use of data in West Valley, there was a lot of interest in learning more about the ERDC data, the post-secondary data that we look at on an ongoing basis. So they actually asked me to lead a session. We did a work group. I had all the superintendents brought their laptops, and we logged in, and they looked at their district and were able to get the data that we've used for many years in West Valley. So I do see this as a strength in our district. Another strength is the assessment literacy by our instructional staff. So instructional staff, that's our, especially at the elementary level, our teachers, our paraeducators. We have the instructional coaches that really look at, bring the data to the table. And especially when we're looking at literacy and the science of reading. So all the work that we've been using DIBBLES in our district. It's the dynamic indicators of basic elementary literacy, and that's the acronym. And so that information gives detailed information about each student and the just all the different parts of the phonics, phonemic awareness, up to the words per minute of their reading, and helping to really target instruction, both the general instruction by our classroom teachers and then the additional intervention and tiered support by our paraeducator staff. So this assessment literacy is a real strength in West Valley. As I talk to other school districts, it's just the fact that we're using data in the classroom and that's a part of our practice is a real strength in West Valley. And then that final bullet there, the variety of data that are collected includes student achievement, student voice, focus groups, classroom practices. So getting in, observing classrooms. So the classroom practices, that's more like a qualitative data that we collect. And then the survey data from family, staff, and students. The student voice data, I work with the secondary principals, and I know some of our board members have sat in on these sessions. So we do those about every other month at the high school and the Innovation Center. We do this around the lunchtime. So we do first lunch and second lunch. We have a diverse group of students, and it's just another chance for us to collect data on our improvement practices. So we've focused a lot this year on the sense of belonging and are things getting better in terms of, you know, the our school is a safe place, and not just in the classroom, but in the hallways and other places on campus. And so it's nice to hear that the students have told us that things are getting better. And we'll look forward to the survey data that we're collecting right now during conference week, last week, on our student data as well. And so we have multiple data points that we can collect. It's not just one data point, but it gives us a better picture of how we're making progress in the district. Our plan for continuous improvement really focuses on the strategic plan and collecting data more frequently this year to monitor progress. And so I already shared the 4 areas, but the culture of safety and belonging, doing periodic checks on student voice and student perspective on that, and then actually capturing. A lot of the schools are doing open-ended questions. The students are able to share their thoughts about the culture of safety and belonging, and principals have been using that data to address issues immediately. So I really appreciate the follow-through that I've seen with all of our principals on collecting the data more frequently. So that's culture of safety and belonging. Strong foundations. We'll continue to do the iReady assessments in the fall, winter, and spring. That'll give us a good sense of reading and math at the elementary level. Mastery-based learning is the focus of our mid-level campus. And so continuing to develop systems to monitor student progress there. And then the career pathways at the secondary level, really a data point that we're going to collect this year that we haven't in the past is students on track for passing all their classes, especially with the focus of the 9th grade level. We know that that's a real important grade to have a successful launch to the student secondary success. And so we are really focused on collecting that on a monthly basis, students passing all their classes, and especially looking at the 9th grade. Really appreciate the leadership of the high school and the Innovation Center taking the initiative, and we had identified putting transition meetings into place in the spring. In the strategic plan was adopted in May by the board, and in the first week of June, they were already implementing part of the strategic plan by having transition meetings where the high school and the Innovation Center administrators were meeting with the middle school administrators, looking at students that could need additional supports. And then they created the class for the freshman success class and getting students scheduled into the class. So just really appreciate the ownership of our administrative staff to see the importance of this work, taking ownership, making it happen, and really implementing the strategic plan when hardly the ink was even dry on it. So just really appreciate that work. We'll continue to work for continuous improvement. And this is just, of course, a check-in, but I do appreciate the board supporting this type of accountability where we're going to report back to the board on an ongoing basis about the progress on the strategic plan. So again, last month we had the goal areas, and this month we have the district areas. We'll continue to have check-ins with the board. And I also appreciate the leadership of Stacy Drake, our assistant superintendent for learning and teaching. She's taken the school improvement plans and basically aligned that with the strategic plan so that it's really seamless and we're all heading in the same direction here in West Valley. So that concludes the presentation. I could have the board maybe return back to their microphones, and then we'll have the presenters here come and join me, and we'll see if there's any questions from the board.
This question's for Minerva. Oh, you had mentioned just the mental health sessions that were going on. How do we pick those speakers? What's the scope and sequence of that look like?
Yeah, that's a great question because I have to do a lot of research. For this last presenter, I had these information from someone from ESD because eating disorders, we have only one specialist in town, and that's her. And so I was really happy to see, I have to look for, people that are experts in the field. It's just a 1 hour. We do not record the sessions because participants can ask questions and we have to keep the confidentiality of the conversation. So that's why we do not record these. But yeah, we have every month a session. I'm really happy about that. Oh, the topics, we identify the topics because at the end of the school year, I send a survey to families, and
Okay.
this is information I get from them.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mhm.
Would we be able to get a scope and sequence of all the topics?
Yes, absolutely.
That'd be wonderful.
Absolutely, yes.
I just have one question. Any one of you might be able to answer this, but in particular, it's one of you said, strong parent involvement is good for the student, essentially, in so many words. I'm just wondering, are you feeling that there's more parent involvement? That's always a big issue with me, is getting the parents involved will always help the student, I feel. And so that's been kind of a struggle, even at board meetings, to get some of the parents here. But I'm just wondering, do you feel that you're having success with getting parents involved in something like this?
I think so, yes. We wish we had more, right? There's always growth, area improvement. There is always an opportunity for improvement. But I'm really happy to see that we have engagement on parents joining our mental health sessions. They come to our events, like community events. The attendance is crazy. This last time we had probably, for the welcome back, more than 400 people. And so when we also hear from principals saying they have a literacy night and they have parents attending a literacy night, that also talks about engagement. So yes, I can definitely say we're having improvement. And I also like to see more of our Latino families joining.
I would say another strength in our family engagement has been the work with our Native American parents and students. And our team here behind me, Geraldine and Minerva, working together, have really made an increase in our attendance at the with our focus on Title VI. So that's federal money that can come to the district. Geraldine got things organized last year and made the application for the first time for West Valley. And then this year we have that Title VI funds. And again, working with the families to identify what's the best use of those funds. And they talked about language and culture being the focus. And so now Geraldine's putting the word out that we're looking for someone who would be interested in helping to do after-school sessions for Shishkin, the language of the Yakama Nation. And there are some school districts that have that during the school day. We'd like to start with having some after-school sessions. And so, again, we had our Rock the Mocks just last week. We had more people attend that session than we did the year before. And the presenters said that they could see the progress from just 1 year, the additional involvement that we have for our Native American participation. So that's something to be proud of as a district. Go ahead, Geraldine.
Yeah, I just wanted to add that we actually have 2 people signed a contract to teach the Itchiskin language 5 evenings starting in January. So 1 each month for 5 months. So I'm actually really looking for someone who can help us with cultural arts. So the Native culture and what kind of arts can we bring to our students and families. So that's my plug.
I just want to add one thing about what she just said, and it's the people that are joining, their parents. So that's amazing because we're having parents engaged and they are doing the work. Just like for the adult education, the tutors are other parents helping parents. And right here we have parents that are volunteering or relatives, right? So it's work that it's happening, families are engaging.
I guess, and just in general, again, shout out to our principals. They really emphasize the importance of attending the evening events that we offer. And so we do have great turnout at such as the literacy nights or the support for students when they perform at the elementary, at the middle level, at the high school. We have some great turnout there as well. So family engagement and involvement comes in many different shapes and sizes and different forms. And so we do have a real emphasis of that. And the ownership of the principals is there as they lead this work. We do have that as a standing agenda item on our Wednesday meetings that we have. And so we do have our strategic plan as a standing agenda item. We have, of course, nuts and bolts of learning and teaching and business and operations. And then family engagement is a standing agenda item. So we always come back every week. What are we doing to promote family engagement in West Valley?
Thank you. That's really great. I just one small follow-up. I don't know if it's a question or more of a comment, but I'm just wondering, with that increase in involvement by by families, are you seeing new faces, or is it really the same continuous parents that are involved, which is good, but it's always good too to, you see some fresh faces every now and then.
I think we do see some new faces. An example can be, for example, the Winter Wonderland. That's each station is led by the PTA, PTSA from each building. And so they're always changing. So we see different faces. For the migrant students, we have new faces. The Parent Advisory Committee, it's always new faces. So we happy to see that we also have new faces.
Thank you.
I just have one question, and this is probably a Geraldine/Joe question, maybe Peter as well. In the systems to ensure high-quality learning, as well as in the culture of excellence, instructional coaches and the necessity of them was brought up at several points during the presentation. Can you re-enlighten me on our overall funding of the instructional coaches between state and federal dollars, please?
Sure. Our instructional coaches at the high school and middle level are funded out of Title I, which is federal funding. Our elementary coaches are funded out of LAP, which is our state funding. And then we have one at the IC that is funded out of CTE. And then our multilingual instructional coaches come from the Transitional Bilingual Instructional Program, which is also a state-funded grant.
So the only ones that are federally funded would be the Title I instructional coaches at the high school
That's correct.
And how
Well,
many-
and the middle level.
and the middle level. And so, and how many staff members is that?
So 4. Okay. 3.
FTE is
Yeah,
3.0?
3. Yeah.
Okay,
Good question.
thank you.
And
Any other
just, again,
questions?
for the community, just that those instructional coaches are funded by categorical funds. Those are special funds that come to the district for specific purposes. And so we're able to use that for instructional coaching. So the Title I is federal money. It comes to the district. We use that specifically for instructional coaching. And then the learning assistance program is the elementary. And then we can use that for the instructional coaching. But it's a categorical. So it's not like basic ed funding that has less restrictions. It's more restrictive funding.
Right. Thank you. I don't have any other
All right.
questions.
I don't either. Thank you.
All right. Well,
very
thank you again
much.
for our administrators, Geraldine Ashbaugh, Director of State and Federal Programs, Minerva Pardo, Director of Family and Community Engagement, and Assistant Superintendent Joe Conley, Assistant Superintendent for Business Operations. Thank you this evening, and give you guys a hand.
Okay. I'm going to go ahead and make a motion to excuse Mr. Kephart.
I just texted him. He didn't know it was tonight.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering if he didn't pick up on the Monday, Tuesday night. So anyway, so I'll go ahead and make a motion to excuse Mr. Kephart. I'll call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries to excuse Mr. Kephart 4-0 or 4-0. I'm just completely out of sync because it's Monday. Item 7 is the public comment period on non-discussion agenda items. We don't have any agenda items this evening, so this can be an open public comment period on anything within the board's policy. I don't think anybody signed up this evening. I'm looking at Mrs. Smith. Nobody signed up. I'll go ahead and open it up. Public comment period is closed. Item 8, approval of consent agenda. In the consent agenda is approval of minutes from the board meeting on November 12th, approval of vouchers and payroll, financial reports, approval of employment contracts, approval of retirements, resignations and separations, and approval of leave requests. Unless anybody has any questions, I'd entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda as presented.
I move we approve the consent agenda as presented.
Okay. Go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries on the consent agenda 4-0. Item 9 is action items. 9A is approval of policy additions and revisions. First reading. We have a couple in the packet, 3432 and 3241. Dr. Finch, anything to add on that?
Just for emergencies, that's an update that was recommended by WASDA, Washington State School Directors Association, on some additional information in there under the bullet points for the emergencies. And then the RCW has changed. It used to be reporting on a statewide system. Now it's done on a regional basis. So we changed the RCW, just deleted that reference. And then we did add a section for Secure and Teach that we use in West Valley, and we're using it across the region. Secure and Teach is to keep the campus secure during a situation that may not be an imminent threat, but we want to keep the campus secure and keep students in their classroom. It's also used when there's a medical emergency on campus, so that the first responders can respond appropriately without having students in the classroom and not in the hallways. And so that's actually information that our lead for the district, Clayton Wyckoff, he crafted that language for us, and I appreciate Clayton's leadership on that. Clayton actually received a regional award for being a lead for the district in the past, and so appreciate Clayton Wyckoff. He's the principal at Mountain View, but also a lead for security for our district. Appreciate his help on that revision to the policy. The second one is student discipline, and there was some legislation that changed some definitions of what are listed in there for student discipline. And so those are some updates based on some recent legislation. So those are the two policies. There's some additional policy recommendations from WASDA that we're working on, but these are the two that we're ready to bring to the board. So we're ready for first reading, and then we'll wait until next month and do second reading.
Can I ask a question on this one?
Sure.
For the discipline policy, I noticed that points 1 through 4 have changed with a sizable amount. Is that reflected in any other policy, or does that just go away?
No, that would just be moved over to procedures.
Okay.
Needed, yeah.
So was that, I didn't take the time to read the procedures because it's 27 pages long, but did it get moved yet?
Yeah, the procedures are, we're working on the revisions to the procedures. I'm not sure if they've been posted or not.
Okay, so all these cross-outs will end up in the procedures.
Well, I don't want to make promises I can't keep here. So I need to review. I know that there was a revision to procedures.
Mhm.
And again, for the public, the board approves the policy, and then the administration works on any revisions to procedures
Right.
as needed. So when the procedures are revised, I can give you the update on that.
Yeah, I was just noticing a lot of the cross-outs seemed like some of them needed to
Right.
be somewhere else.
Yeah, that was my understanding, is
Yeah.
that they were moved to procedures.
Okay.
Okay.
The other question I have is I read through the policy alert bulletin, and I guess without going into a lot of detail, I could read some of it, but there was some language in there that said, OSPI and WASDA gave you some of this language, but it said that the school could, one of the sentences said they could define it differently based on their local practices. There was a couple places that said you don't have to go by the model policy. You can adjust it to your own school. Was any of that considered, or is this just the model policy as written?
The model, yeah, we have the model policy as written. The procedures, that's why we're making sure that they're consistent with our practice that we have.
But I think this
and I
is
did
referring to policy.
Right. No, the policy is the recommended policy from WASDA.
Right, even though it says
Right.
in their own bulletin that we can make changes for our own local schools. I just wondered if that was considered at all, or if we just went with the.
Yeah, right. It was considered, but I didn't make any changes. We also, the student discipline policy procedures from the state they issued like an emergency because it was the school year was starting.
Mhm.
So they put those into place. Now they're continuing to work, and there'll be some modifications that will come out at a later time.
Okay.
But because there were some changes in definition by the legislature, I felt it was important at this time to bring this policy update forward, and then we can always make some adjustments if needed.
So
Also,
does
my
any of this
understanding-
change what we've done, really?
No, I did consult with our district attorney on this. That basically the legislature was trying to give districts a little more leeway when it came to discipline. but that if we continue with our current procedures that we have, then we are following the law.
Okay.
And so knowing that there's going to be additional guidance that will
Yeah.
come and additional WAC, so it's a Washington Administrative Code. So
It's in
we
progress.
felt like basically there's not a reason to change what we're currently doing because it aligns with the law. And then if we were to change it and then the WAC comes out with different changes, then we'd have to change it again. So we felt it was prudent to continue with our current procedures and practices, wait for the Washington Administrative Code as it's updated, and then take a look at that time to see if there's any adjustments that we'd like to make.
Great, thank you.
I have two items that will not prevent me from voting on the first reading. These are just punctuation issues. So on 3241, under rights and responsibilities / district commitment, so there's 1 and 2, and I believe that at the end of 2, there should be a period rather than a semicolon. And on page 2, where there was a bunch of strikes, a period needs to be placed after, so under development and review, third paragraph, needs to be a period after of their implementation, right there.
Right.
Because
Right. Yep.
because that last period at the end got stricken.
Right.
Just a couple of nits.
Got it.
That's all I have. Let's go ahead and just take these one by one. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve 3432 first reading, which is emergencies. I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries on first reading of 3432, 4-0. Can I have a motion on 3241?
So moved.
Okay, call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries on 3241, 4-0. 9B is approval of lease with Kelly Create on copy machine for the district print shop. Mr. Connolly's here. There's materials in the packet. It's above the lease agreement is of a dollar amount that requires board approval. Does anybody have any questions on that?
Nope.
Okay. Entertain a motion to approve the lease mentioned in the board packet.
So moved.
Okay. I'll go ahead and call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. Motion carries 4-0. Item 9C is approval of a travel request for JROTC next month in Spokane. The materials were provided by Ms. Smith, I believe earlier today, and they were in the board packet. I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve the travel request as presented. Call for a vote. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, same sign. The motion carries on the travel request 4-0. Item 10 is items arising. Nothing this evening. Item 11 is reports. Dr. Finch?
Yep, so those are included in the board packet, the administrative reports, the enrollment report, safety report, and travel log. And so administrative reports are the reports from each of our schools. And I appreciate the work of the principals to keep the board informed about all the events happening at our schools.
Thank you. Dr. Finch, just one question, which you don't have to answer tonight, just enlighten me or enlighten the board at your convenience. On the safety report, under ethnicity description, there's Chicano, parentheses, Mexican American, then there's Hispanic as a separate, so one category is Chicano, parentheses, Mexican American. One is Hispanic. Another is Mexican. And I am sorry, I don't know the difference between them, but maybe if you could report back on the difference.
Yeah, I'll have to look at what
yeah.
those codes are pulled from, basically.
Uh-huh.
I believe it has to do when a student enrolls, and then there's the various choices that the family can make on the ethnicity. And
Okay.
then we use that off it's the state system is called CEDARS, and unfortunately I don't know what that acronym even stands for. But we pull that from the ethnicity report from what the family reports. But I'll look into that and get more information about that.
Okay. I don't know why I've never noticed that before, but
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Item 12, superintendent's report.
Yeah, the superintendent's report for this meeting was a focus on the Long Range Facilities Planning Committee. So we did have the first planning committee meeting on November 19th. We have about 30 people on the committee. We do have school board members Joel Heed and Mark Strong are representatives from the board on the committee. So we have good communication between the board and the committee. And I guess, well, the full packet, the full information in there is in the packet, but basically our enrollment projection is projected to be stable in the future, that we do have declining birth rates, but then we do have students moving into the district. So we're looking at a stable enrollment, which is good to see. Other districts are dealing with declining enrollment. So it's nice to see the projection is to have stable enrollment in West Valley. And then the long range facilities plan from the past, as well as the presentation from November 19th, have been posted to the district website under the business services. And I do appreciate Joe Conley keeping that up to date. I was thinking I was going to have to search for it, and Joe said, no, it's right there on the website already. So I just added the presentation for the 19th to the work that Joe had already done. So, want to have a nice transparent process for everyone to see the progress of the planning committee. And so there were some great questions asked of the consultant. Phil Crocker is our consultant. Some great questions of information that the committee wanted, a lot of data that was shared, and then more data that committee members had asked for. So Mr. Crocker will be working on pulling that data together for the committee and bringing it to the next meeting. So just wanted to make sure we knew that the process is moving forward now. We have been looking forward to updating the long range facilities plan for a while now. Process is in place, and then we're keeping the community informed by having everything posted to the business services webpage of our West Valley School District website.
Thank you. Item 13 is board reports and board development.
Yeah, we were able to go to WVSD conference this last weekend, and it was engaging and enlightening. It was good to be there. One of the big takeaways was, after having several conversations with different school boards and different directors, how good we have it here and how much Peter's doing. And so it was really encouraging to just be able to affirm you, Peter. There's a lot of excellence in what you're carrying.
Well, that's nice. It's a definite team approach. We have a strong team in West Valley, just across the board, all departments, our certificated staff, classified staff, and the administrative staff. We've had zero turnover on our administrative team.
That's
so
awesome.
It's nice to have that continuity. And then we do meet on a weekly basis. So we have really good communication among the admin team. And so we're able to address problems as they arise and not let them linger and just take care of business. So just appreciate the team that we have in West Valley.
To echo what Joel just said, and it was just good to network with various people, especially not just the seminars, but around lunch, breakfast, et cetera. Just networking with a lot of people was really good.
If I could suggest at an upcoming board meeting, maybe a study session. In the past, when we've had folks go to WVSD, we've had a study session where the board members that attended could share some of the sessions that they attended and share with the rest of the board and the community some of the things that were particularly enlightening to you during the sessions that you attended. So maybe we could carve out, or I would suggest that it doesn't necessarily have to be next month, but maybe in January or whenever's somewhat convenient based upon what we have going on. Maybe we could do a study session on that if that's all right. Whoever the incoming president will be can decide that. So with that, item 14 is adjournment. I'd like to say a happy Thanksgiving to the fellow board members, Dr. Finch, our staff, Mr. Marinacci that's here. Thank you very much. And we are adjourned at 7:59.